experience I had with a gruff cameraman that showed me the two ways we can look at just about every situation in life. And he said, here's what we want to do. You want to do this, compare the Saints to Rocky? I'm not shooting off the tripod. That's average. What we're going to do is I'm going to shoot off the shoulder when they come to you live. And we're going to be at the bottom of these 72 steps. And when they come to us live, you're going to run the steps like Rocky. And I said, what? He said, yes, sirree, it is going to rock. I said, do you realize we got to run like 6 steps flat, all the way up. You could fall and crack your $50,000 camera and your skull and mine too? He goes, that's what's going to make it fun. Oh, yeah. I go, oh, boy. Oh. He started getting ready. He left the tripod in the truck. He practiced with the camera. He started practicing running sideways. He had his knee pads on. He had to run with one hand out like me in the donkey racing because he would never be able to see the steps. He'd have to go with peripheral vision because he'd be looking through a viewfinder. So then I start practicing running and talking and what I'm going to say. The hour goes by. It's 2 minutes before 10 o'clock. I've got my earpiece on to where I can hear the station back in New Orleans. Norman Robinson comes on. We're going to go live to Charlie Adams. It's like Walter Cronkite. My heart is just beating, just pounding. I'm looking at this cameraman. He's like this, and he just winks at me. They throw to me live via satellite. I set up the game, and then I start running. And he starts running with me. And the Saints are 7-0. And no one thinks they can win. And he's just going. We go up, arms up. We get up to the top, and he doesn't finish. I'm talking about the game. He's got that camera. He raises it up. He lowers it down. He goes around the statue, and then I throw to a taped piece. And it was that gruff cameraman in Philadelphia who would not let me settle. And ever since then, even though I'm out of TV news, I approach just about everything I do with one of two ways. I can do it either the tripod way, just sort of the solid, routine way, or I can run the steps. And that's how we can look at many things in life. We can look at our job that way. There are many routine things we all do with our jobs that you can't jazz up, but there are things that we can do at our job, our lives, our marriage, just a regular marriage, or how about treating our mate as the first date? Every day we see them. I've been trying to do that now for 3 weeks. I'm on a kick. It takes a little while for that to actually happen, but when I see Nancy, I go, okay, remember the first date when I opened her door on my Ford Taurus, you know, and I opened the door at the restaurant? And you can run the steps, or you can do it the tripod way. I am an experienced donkey racer. You should sponsor me next year with a patch. And covering peak performers, I've seen this common denominator. It's 3 letters all in a row. C plus D leads to E. Commitment plus determination leads to excellence. Brett was born with no arms, no legs, and he does not consider himself handicapped or disabled at all. I've been around him for years. Every time I'm around him, he's upbeat. He has little stubs at best. Well, Brett was determined to move up where he worked. He was a greeter at a store like Meijer or Walmart, and he said, boss, I want to move up to security. And the boss said, whoa, Brett, whoa, you're a great guy, great attitude, but this has got to stop right here. So what do you mean? He said, well, first of all, for you to move to security, you would have to pass a test showing that you could deliver a forearm blow if a shoplifter ever got rough with you. And Brett, you don't have any arms. You don't have any forearms. Well, Brett had wrestled in high school. He'd learned how to leverage his body. His boss is sitting across the way. Brett became determined. He saw this opportunity passing him by. He jumped off his wheelchair onto his boss, knocked him to the floor, and dug his stubs into him and pinned him to the ground. The boss got up shocked and hired him and promoted him. How about that? And I encourage you when you go back to start pointing at each other. One of the great basketball programs of all time is North Carolina. And their coach, Dean Smith, started a tradition that if you scored a basket, as you ran back down the court to play defense, You pointed at the person that passed to you to set it up because they made it happen. You did it. When someone does something for you, maybe start a tradition. Point at them. You. Pointing is polite then. Pointing can be good. One day we went to see the Olympic Training Center. And we went through all this excellence. And we got to the weight room. And we're about to leave that part. The guide was leading us. And we looked up. The ceiling wasn't this high. It was normal. And this one person said, "What's that fence stuff up there for?" And it did look odd. It looked like someone had gone to Lowe's and come in and hammered fencing stuff near the ceiling tiles. And she goes, "Oh, we had to put that there." I'm like, what, were people trying to break in? Well, she said a lot of these athletes are so determined to reach excellence that after working out 2 or 3 times in a day, they would want to come back in the middle of the night to maybe work on their calf muscles or run the treadmill. And they were coming back to find the weight room locked. So they were getting something to step on, and they were knocking out the ceiling tiles, crawling into the weight room, and dropping in to work more. And I said, really? Now, I'm a motivational guy. That gets me misty-eyed. Like, here's our big crier here, Beth. I have not done a program to bring her to tears, but it wouldn't take much. But the young and the restless, Tuesday. He's sitting at home, and he goes, "I'm going to go up and play for the Bears." And he goes, "I've been hearing about positive attitude. Charlie talked about it. I've got a great positive attitude. That'll do it." Okay? Now, let's see your jumping ability. Let's pretend like you're trying to knock down a pass. Jump up. Jump. Okay? Let me see you just sort of run sideways to the wall and back like you're roaming as a linebacker. Go ahead. All right? And now run backwards. There you go. Yeah. Come over here. Do you think Edgar would play for the Bears? That's because you know and love him. But I think Lovie Smith and the staff would go, "How did you get on the grounds of our complex? Security, take this man back to Indianapolis," and everything. And I don't think he would make it. But he said, "Well, wait, I've got a positive attitude." He's got a positive attitude. Well, Zig Ziglar, the speaker, says, "A positive attitude doesn't mean you can do anything. But a positive attitude means you can do everything better than if you have a negative attitude." And that's true. A positive attitude means you can do everything better than if you have a negative attitude. Tell us, make sounds. How would you look? How excited? Give us a zzz. But among the most determined people I've ever met, a young man from Kosciuszko County named Nick Nisos. Nick wanted to wrestle. He was a 9th grader. He had 2 things against him. He was weak, and he was legally blind. So when he would go out on the mat, he had a hard time groping for his opponent. His opponent was a blur at best. The opponent could size him up and was strong, and so the matches usually went like this. Nick would grope, Nick would get caught, Nick would be thrown to the ground and pinned in about 12 seconds. Every time. Well, he was determined to get better. And you hear a lot about goals and short-term goals, and how many times do we really set them and write them down, especially the short-term goals? This young man went home and wrote down short-term goals. And you think they might be a good wrestler, or make it to sectional. His first goals were, make it 1 minute before getting pinned. Then his next goal was make it 2 minutes before getting pinned. Make it a whole round. Make it a whole match. He went back out there, he kept lifting his weights, working, and he made it a whole minute before getting pinned, and then a whole round. He lost every match his 9th grade year. He was 0-24. His sophomore year, he won a match. And he helped his team make it to the regional of the state tournament. Commitment plus determination leads to excellence. We were going back to the hotel after a hard day's work. My cell phone rang. It was Terry Newton, the vice president of Hoosier Racing Tire. And he said, "Charlie, come on out to the beach. We've rented a go-kart track next to a putt-putt course, and we're having fun. Come on out with you guys and get in a go-kart." I go, "That sounds fun." So we showed up, and it sounded awfully loud for just go-karts by the putt-putt course. And I got my 6'6" frame into the go-kart, which is like a praying mantis, with my knees sticking everywhere, and I pulled into the action, because there was about 30 or 40 of them already racing. And I pulled out. I'd been out about 5 seconds when, pow! Someone hit me and knocked me right into the railing, hard. And as he went by, he went, "Yeehaw!" I thought, that was rude. What is up with this? I pulled back, boom! Someone hit me, knocked me into the other railing, just laughing. I said, this is absurd. Why are they acting like this? I got going and I sort of moved towards the safe area. Boom! I got hit from behind and spun completely around, staring at the person that hit me. It was Tony Stewart. Maybe the best race car driver in the world, from Rushville, Indiana, and he's just grinning at me like a cat that's got the canary. I had no idea he was going to be there, and I'm in shock. That's Tony Stewart. He zoom took off. So I quickly picked up that these were Hoosier Racing Tire people and race car drivers that were out there. These were pros. I was the only amateur. I was way over my head. So my little go-kart, I stayed on the outside because they all wanted the inside lanes. And I was like driving Miss Daisy for a while. And then it hit me. What it boils down to, this C plus D goes to E on a goofy Tuesday night at the putt-putt course go-kart track. I said, no, I don't have to take this. I can race with these people. Did a little of that. I became committed and determined to get to that inside lane, and nothing was going to knock me out. I swerved in, took that inside lane, and stayed there. And they kept coming in, darting at me, hitting me, trying to knock me out, and I was like, no! And I stayed, and they looked at me like, what happened to him? And for 40 straight minutes we raced. They would stop every once in a while so they could do the restart going into the first turn, because that was crazy, because all the cars, go-karts would converge. That's how twisted these people are. And so I just stayed there, and it hit me. I was committed and determined, and I reached a state of excellence in go-kart racing by the putt-putt course. It just shows that you can do it anywhere. He reaches out and puts his hands on the bricks and the bushes of the McDonald's. Vroom, 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 vroom. Praise the Lord, it's a miracle. Vroom. Thank you for everything you do. And remember, you're in the Vital Records Association. Things could be worse. What if you work for the non-vital records? You know? Here's something. Where should we put it? Oh, just anywhere. You are the Vital Records Association. You are vital. You rock. Thank you. Have a great day here. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. I think he deserves another round of applause. I think he was awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.